an incredible £1.9 billion on ready meals. With our expanding appetite for convenience foods, labour-saving devices, and more sedentary jobs, our waistlines are getting bigger and bigger. On Fat Surgeons, two people whose lives have been taken over by food, but in very different ways. 37-year-old Dave Cheeseman tips the scales at 42 stone. He's super morbidly obese.
My ultimate dream is to go to America to see one of their big burgers. Because apparently they're like 7-inch round, and that's just a standard burger, and I really fancy going to have one of those.
Cookery writer Carol Bowen Ball is a lifelong food obsessive.
You know, I've had a very successful career. I've written over 90 cookery books. I've achieved so much. And the one thing I couldn't achieve for myself was the one thing I wanted most of all, which was to be of a normal size.
Expect graphic scenes of gastric bypass surgery on Fat Surgeons. Dave Cheeseman lives alone in Sittingbourne in Kent. With a body mass index of over 70, he's dangerously overweight.
I know it sounds silly, but I think I've been brought up in the wrong era. I'd love to have been brought up in the 50s. I'd like to have been, like, perhaps a teenager in the 50s, where you go out to American diners and chill out with all your friends and drive the nice big American cars. The American way of life just seems more laid back than this country. America does everything big. Big food, big cars, big houses. A lot of big people out there, yeah. I suppose I'd probably feel more comfortable there, being big.
As the sun rises in Sittingbourne, Dave starts the morning ritual of showering. At 42 stone, it's no mean feat.
Some of the hardest things I find when having a shower is doing my legs and my feet. Top of the body's fine. I can shower quite easily, which is nice. And in your back, I find hard. And the thing with big people as well, you've got to get underneath everything and make sure you get everything properly. Otherwise you end up being so big, you sweat a lot.
For help with the simplest everyday tasks, Dave depends on his girlfriend Colette. Drying and dressing a 6'3" waistline isn't easy when you're as wide as you are tall.
He can't do as much stuff that he would like to do. Like he can't go out for like long walks and up and down the stairs.
Put my underwear on's quite a struggle. Yeah, focus on that.
I mainly do everything for him. It makes me feel that's the only reason why he's with me. Yeah, I do, because I love him.
Yeah, I mean, I get a lot of my clothes shipped in from America, purely because they're bigger sizes. Underwear came from America as well, actually. Trousers. Got it. That's teamwork.
Dave still lives in the family home, where he grew up with his mum.
When Mum was around, she'd cook the foods, plate it all up, and we had a big meal in the evening. Lunchtime, we'd have perhaps 4 sandwiches, plus cake and a yoghurt. Breakfast time, I'd have Weetabix-wise, I probably could have 6 to 8 Weetabix, or 6 slices of toast for breakfast.
And the school dinners didn't help with Dave's expanding waistline.
Age-wise, I suppose I'd be about 12 when I went up to secondary school, having the free school meals. You could have chips, so you had chips with whatever you had. I would come home from school and I'd probably still be hungry, so I'd go and make myself a sandwich, sit down in front of the telly. Didn't want to run the playground much because I never had very many friends at school, so I was always a loner, so I was sitting on the side, basically not exercising, while all the other kids are running around playing football. And I used to just sit there and watch everybody. When I finished school, I was unemployed for 2 years, and I was just sitting at home, so it was boredom, and I would eat. And then when I got into a regular job, I used to work in the arcades in Laysdown, and the only food available was the burger bars. when you think that you're there for like 3 meals a day, so 3 lots of burgers soon mounts up.
Over the years, Dave has been on a succession of diets. His biggest achievement was losing weight for his wedding day.
I lost 8.5 stone, and that was brilliant. Ready for when I got married in 2008. Went on the honeymoon, and because it was all-inclusive, I thought, well, I'm not going to waste my money, I'm going to eat. I put on about 2 stone in a fortnight. Then, unfortunately, my wife left me, and I got very depressed, I suppose is the word. So I started eating, and things started going downhill for me from there onwards, and I just started ballooning.
Dave isn't alone. Worldwide, an estimated 1.5 billion adults are classified as obese. That means they have a BMI greater than 30. In Britain, thousands of obese patients have been treated here at St Richard's Hospital in Chichester since the specialist bariatric unit opened in 2006. And it's getting busier and busier. Bariatric surgeon Chris Pring is part of the obesity team at St Richard's.
As it stands, there's no sign of this obesity epidemic slowing down. Currently, 25% of the population is obese, and we reckon this is going to get up to 33% by 2025. In fact, in the USA, a third of the population there is already obese. We've got a huge health problem on our hands, and there's no sign of it slowing down.
With a BMI of 73.5 and weighing 42 stone, Dave is one of those statistics, but also one of the 10,000 people this year who will undergo weight loss surgery. He's been given the go-ahead for a gastric bypass operation at St Richard's. The decision to have a weight loss operation was not an easy one. At the time, he had the support of his mum, but sadly she passed away just days after he'd been accepted for the surgery.
When I first started looking into it, she seemed quite positive, but unfortunately we didn't get that far. I mean, she died on the 24th of April, just a few days away from her birthday.
Dave was devastated to lose his mum. She had brought him up alone since his dad died when he was just 13. Now he only has Colette for support.
I don't have any family support. I've got Colette, and yes, I do feel lonely at times.
Although his parents are no longer around, Dave feels in some way that they are still supporting him.
I think Mum and Dad are both pleased about what I'm doing, because it's something that's made me unhappy for such a long time. It stopped me from doing things that I really enjoy doing.
Dave is already looking forward to the new life ahead of him.
I know it sounds really funny. It's the smallest things, is driving a car. I can only fit in a certain size car, but the steering wheel would rub in your stomach. This is my baby, as it were, my pride and joy. Look after her regularly, service her regularly, polish her regularly. I just love driving, going long drives. It does have a lot of bonuses, having a big truck. There's plenty of room to spread out, lay back, and enjoy the drive. Not like the British cars you get, where you're all cramped in a small box. It would be nice to be able to jump in any car and drive, rather than just being restricted to really big cars. I mean, I love really big cars anyway. That's also a passion of mine, why I want to go to America, because of the cars. Because Americans know how to build big cars, because they build them for big people. The main changes that it will give me is that I'll be able to be more active. I'll be able to get a proper job where I can bend and lift in without restrictions.
But one change is even more important for Dave. At present, he thinks he's unable to father a child.
Would love to have a baby. I don't think it's possible at the moment for me, for being the size I am. We do have our sex, but I don't think it's doing anything. That's what I now think is my problem, that I can't father children at the moment because of my size.
Men with an increased body mass index are significantly more likely to be infertile. Dave is hoping he'll be able to turn this around with some rapid weight loss. But he's already preparing for life after surgery, knowing that his diet will have to change radically.
I've already prepared for when I come out of hospital a few of these, which are my mushy foods, like baby puree, and I've got in here shepherd's pie, basically. In a nutshell, I've got potato, mince, vegetables, all liquidised up and frozen into cubes. I think I've done approximately 3 months' supply, ready to go. Shepherd's pie for breakfast, dinner and tea.
With a new life on the horizon, Dave must say goodbye to the old favourites he's come to depend on.
On my worst depression day where everything's gone wrong, I could get up in the morning, have 6 slices of toast between 9 and lunchtime. I'd probably have maybe 2 or 3 bags of crisps, biscuits in the cupboard. If I had something simple like beans on toast, it'd be 4 slices of toast, maybe a large can of baked beans, packet of crisps, yoghurt, 3 litres of Coke in the day.
But that's all about to change. In 2 days, Dave will have his gastric bypass operation. Dave Cheeseman's change in diet is going to be huge, but he should take heart from 59-year-old cookery writer Carol Bowen Ball. 20 months ago, she weighed over 17 stone and was morbidly obese. Carol has spent a lifetime developing recipes, writing over 80 cookery books. Food is her life. But as her career snowballed, so did her weight. Ironically, her first cookery book was called Cookery for Slimmers, published in 1978.
You know, I've had a very successful career. I've written over 90 cookery books. I've achieved so much. And the one thing I couldn't achieve for myself was the one thing I wanted most of all, which was to be of a normal size.
Carol had to juggle a successful career with feeding a young family. Daughter Lucy has enjoyed 28 years of her mum's cooking.
Me and my family have been so lucky because Mum is the ultimate feeder and she has been cooking amazing food for us since I was born. Even as a baby I was having pureed sea bass and mange too. So we've had some absolutely amazing food experiences.
As Carol was feeding her young family, she herself already had 10 years of yo-yo dieting under her belt.
Ridiculously, my first diet started when I was around about 18. I weighed about 8.5 stone. So why I went on a diet, I still don't know. I'd never been a fat child, I hadn't been a fat adolescent. And at 8 stone 7, I don't think I would have been considered a fat young adult.
For 35 years, Carol would try every diet under the sun, spending hundreds of pounds attempting to get back to a normal size.
The crazy diets, everything from sort of going up to Harley Street and having injections in my bottom to so-called breakdown fat, which we know doesn't work, but hey, let's give it a go. I would go on things like, you know, special soups, special bars. I would go on cutting out complete food groups, whether it be to do with my blood group, whether it was to do with high carbs, low carbs, high protein, no fat, you name it. What I didn't obviously do was to just cut my portion size, because that actually would have probably helped me more than any other. I was always looking for a cure that would enable me to probably eat lots and wave a magic wand, and they don't exist.
Carol isn't alone. The weight loss industry in the UK is worth billions. There are currently thousands of diets, weight loss programs and treatments on the market, often playing on people's insecurities and low self-esteem as they search for the perfect solution to their weight problem.
I might have always appeared to be the fat, bubbly cook with a big waistline to match, but actually I was inside quietly dying.
I think the thing about Mum is that she's always been really bubbly and outgoing, and I didn't grasp it for quite a long time that she might have been hurting, you know, inside.
There were times when I was really sad. You know, when you get up in the morning and you go to your wardrobe and you can't find anything that you like or want to wear. Same in the evenings to go to a special event. I just decided I'd rather not go, rather than sort of feel I was squeezed into something and I just don't look good.
But it wasn't just about fitting into clothes. Everyday practicalities were getting more and more difficult.
There were definitely times, you know, when Mum would say to me, oh, can you cut my toenails or something? And I think, Mum, for God's sake, you know, why are we letting it get to this stage? Or why don't we take the dog for a walk? Oh, I don't feel like it. Or, you know, make an excuse not to do it.
I got to the grand old age of 55, weighing almost double what I did when I was 18, and thinking, is this the end? Is this the end? I've run out of, you know, sort of track here. There's nothing else for me to consider.
Carol decided it was time to seek help. She went to see bariatric surgeon Shaw Summers. He's operated on thousands of obese patients at a number of hospitals across southeast England. he reassured Carol that after surgery, she would still be able to taste and enjoy food and continue with her career as a food writer.
It was a hard decision to make, but I asked myself what I wanted more. Was it to do a 91st book? Was it to do something else food-related? Or did I want the slimmer body instead? And I was quite prepared to put my career either on hold or, more to the point, finish it. I actually thought, well, maybe that is the end of my career. I almost danced down to the theatre. By the time, things came around, I was so ready for it.
In 2009, with a BMI of 45.7 and weighing over 17 stone, Carol had a gastric bypass operation carried out by Shaw Summers. She's gone from a size 24 to a size 14 in just 18 months.
The one was the defining moment of me deciding I needed to lose weight was, as I explained, at a family wedding, and I thought I looked okay. Look at the size of that. That's the sort of thing that makes grown men weep when they see a woman in a pair of elephant-sized trousers like this. Look. I mean, they are ginormous. They were snug. So I keep them. They're my reminder that, of how far I've come after all this time. And I don't want to go back there. I'm not going to go back there.
This is the kind of success Dave Cheeseman hopes to match, and even better. The day of his gastric bypass operation has finally arrived.
Morning, David.
But before surgery, Shaw needs Dave's consent for the operation, which he knows is not without its risks.
Any serious risks? Pain, bruising, bleeding, infection, internal injury, leak from one of the joints, conversion to open surgery, failure of the op, very, very rare.
The enormity of the operation is becoming apparent to girlfriend Colette.
I'm quite nervous, really, because I don't know if I'm hoping it's going to go well, and I don't know what the outcome's going to be.
Even though he's about to undergo major surgery, food is still very much on Dave's mind.
Well, as soon as I can eat, the one thing I'm looking forward to is if I can have a French stick with bacon with cheese on. That's what I fancy. But the one thing last week that I really fancied was scrambled egg. Don't know why, but I just fancied scrambled egg. You just imagine how much I've spent on trying to lose weight. It's expensive to eat healthily. Yeah, OK, you weigh up the odds of how much it's costing you to how much your life is worth, and that's when you realise, yeah, it's going to be worth doing.
With a body mass index exceeding 70, this operation could be Dave's last chance.
If he doesn't manage to get control of his weight pretty rapidly, he's at severe risk of a catastrophic event which would likely kill him, something like a blood clot or a heart attack. He realises that his whole future is impacted by his weight. He can't do the things a normal man would want to do.
Getting back to a normal lifestyle is one thing, but Dave is hoping this operation will also be the solution to his fertility problems.
Not uncommon to find that men who are severely overweight just don't produce sperms in sufficient quality or quantity to actually conceive. And that's over and above the fact that sex is difficult when you weigh 40 stone. And people have to understand that being big is not just about waddling around, it's about that every aspect of your life being difficult. Sleeping, waking, going to the toilet, everything is difficult, and it's not a life. I like these, actually. They're the nice thin gloves so that I can feel everything.
The operation is keyhole surgery. This should mean that Dave will recover more quickly from the operation.
I'm just burrowing through the layers of his tummy wall. David has the typical body makeup of a severely overweight man. A lot of the fat is inside his tummy, and he has a very heavy tummy wall because, like most men, he has good musculature. He has been fit, and to carry this degree of weight around, his muscles are actually pretty strong. But that means I have to fight against his muscles to actually get to do the work.
Shaw cuts through the omentum, a sheet of fatty tissue just beneath the abdominal wall.
Right, what I need to do now is find David's small intestine, and it's under here somewhere.
Beyond the omentum is the intestine. A metre of this will never see food again.
now measure down the intestine to create the bypass.
By rerouting this intestine, it will affect the hormones in Dave's brain, reducing his appetite and the amount of calories his body can absorb.
So at the moment I'm doing the Y part of the Rouen-Y loop, the bypass that's going to take the food away.
It's 20 minutes into the operation, and an anxious time for girlfriend Colette, waiting on the ward.
Okay, come back now, thanks. I just need to join these two bits of intestine together. But as you can see, there isn't a lot of room in here because David has a lot of fat inside, and it is a bit like trying to operate through his letterbox.
This operation will finally put an end to Dave's overeating. He can expect to lose around a stone a month for the next 2 years.
David quite eloquently states that his problem is the fact that he loves to eat food and he's addicted to it, and that the bad stuff is really cheap and easy to get hold of, and that is a real problem. You know, he knows what he should be eating but can't afford it, and it doesn't taste quite as nice to him as the rubbish.
For the next stage of the operation, Shaw must access the top of Dave's stomach to turn it into a small pouch. To do that, he must move his liver out of the way using a special hook.
What I'm doing at the moment, I've put in this special retractor system which lifts David's liver out of the way so that I can get underneath the liver and operate on the top of the stomach to make his tiny little stomach pouch about the size of an egg. I'm operating right at the very top of David's stomach, almost just behind the heart, just underneath the heart. So there's not a lot of room in here, and I've got to perform a number of little delicate manoeuvres to try and get into the right space to make his little gastric pouch. I've created a small pouch of stomach for David. It's about the size of an egg, and it's just tucked up there. So this is the staple gun I'm going to use to make the final join. It's a little staple gun with 3 rows of staples either side of a blade.
The bypassed intestine is then joined to the new smaller stomach. The tiny stomach pouch, combined with the short-circuiting of the small intestine, will help Dave lose more than half his body weight.
That's it, time's up. David's operation's gone really well. It was slow and steady, but we've achieved exactly what we need to achieve for him. David now has a small stomach about the size of an egg and a bypass which allows the food to go into a different part of his intestine to give him that different sensation when he eats. And he will be able to say no to food because he just doesn't want it. I would expect his other health concerns, like his infertility, to improve as time goes on. So we may see him as a daddy yet.
The operation has taken 2.5 hours, and Dave is off to recovery. He has a totally new upper digestive system. Food will never be the same again. Just 3 hours later, Dave is back on the ward. Shaw has come to check on his progress.
Hello, David. Hi. It's been a couple of hours since your surgery. Yeah, and everything went absolutely fine. So you'll be a little bit uncomfortable, but you're otherwise all right.
Stomach hurts a little bit in the middle. Apart from that, yeah, I'm all right.
Good. Have you had a little sip to drink yet?
Not yet, no.
OK, well, we can start you sipping as and when you want, but the discomfort will go as the hours pass, and we'll get you up and about a little bit later on. All right? Are you going to give me a thumbs up? Good lad. OK. I'll come and see you soon, all right?
Okay.
Dave will spend the next 3 nights in hospital dreaming of that cheese and bacon baguette. For Carol, it's time to clear out those rails and rails of clothes that no longer fit.
And clothes number 2. Just look. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. I looked probably like Coco the Clown, you know, then, you know. I mean, I paid an awful lot of money for this because it fitted at the time. You know, I couldn't go in and just pick off something off the rail like I can now. I had to have what fitted me at the time, and I didn't even look at the price tag. It's a pity I could afford it at the time, because maybe I might have done something a bit more about my weight if I couldn't have afforded to keep trying to dress myself in a way that was disguising the weight.
Carol's wardrobe contains clothes spanning 3 decades, and most of them will be banished forever.
Now this was the ever-expanding dress. It just covered every lump and bump, and, you know, it was my way of hiding behind, you know, an item of clothing rather than addressing the fact that I did have lumps and bumps. That ought to go, didn't it?
It's a big job, with 4 rails of clothes.
Oh, Lord. We're not going back to these clothes. These are not clothes that I want to wear anymore.
Clothes are not the only thing that's changed in Carol's life. She's also having to develop a whole new range of recipes.
I've been working on a recipe for coronation chicken, not least because we're going to be celebrating lots of royal occasions this year. So I've been trying really hard to come up with a good bariatric-friendly variation. I'm just using an extra lighter than light mayonnaise, and then just mix it all together. And then we're going to just season it.
Daughter Lucy is developing an interest in cookery too, just like her mum.
Obviously, I have started to become a bit more like you, Mum, because I invited 12 people over for a roast the other week, as you know, and slightly underestimated how much food you need and how much cutlery and plates that you have to have, so I had to rush out and go and buy some paper ones. Yeah.
Isn't that strong enough for you?
Yeah, I think so.
The chili's quite hot, isn't it?
That's nice.
I think it's really important if you're a weight loss surgery patient not to overcook your chicken so that it becomes really dry and tough. Always take the skin off. That's where all the fat is in the skin.
Do you just change the way that you cook meat in order to make it a little bit more digestible for you?
Absolutely.
With her stapled stomach now the size of an egg, Carol's portions are dramatically reduced.
Yeah, you eat pretty normally. It's just smaller amounts.
Smaller amounts by a long, long way.
Now, she cooks all the time, always thinking of new recipes to try and share with everybody else. So, cooking's still a big thing. Really, really proud of her. I always knew that she would do it. If she was going to do it, she was going to do it properly and do it really well. She's probably lost more than I thought she was going to, and now she just looks great. I mean, she's similar size to me now, and I just didn't ever think that was going to happen. You could maybe add a little bit more mayonnaise to it, but it tastes good.
Or I'd be more tempted to add a bit more of the low-fat yoghurt.
While Carol and Lucy enjoy their coronation chicken, on the menu in Dave's house is shepherd's pie.
Right, for dinner today I've got my shepherd's pie. It doesn't look all that appetising, but believe me, it's nice. Doesn't sound too clever. Pop it in a ramekin, because while I was making it I forgot to add gravy. Small amount of gravy granules. Don't want a great deal. Bit of salt and pepper to taste. The jelly is half of what I've got left from yesterday. So what I generally do is grab another ramekin, have half of that for tea. Doesn't look a lot, but it actually fills you. Put the rest in the fridge for tomorrow. That's dessert done. That's it. It comes out looking a bit not appetising, but just needs a bit of a stir. That's it. Pureed shepherd's pie. Jelly for dessert. Which is absolutely lovely, apart from when you get little bits of fat in it. Obviously the blender didn't blend it all down properly, but I've probably got 3 months supply left. Still, if I have guests come around, otherwise dump it on them. In actual fact, I've probably done too much today. That's me finished with puree. You know, there's a little bit left, but sounds silly, but I'm full up. Save a bit of room for the jelly, because I love jelly. Not one of my favourite flavours, lime, but it's nice. Something sweet. Sugar-free, but it's sweet. And again, I've given myself too much of that as well. Don't want to eat any more, that's it, I'm full up. I know that sounds really bizarre today, but I've only eaten half the amount I've given myself, which is good, because I'm not overeating, because my stomach says it's in here, and it says that I've had enough. But I might come in an hour, I might have a burp, and I'll probably be able to finish my jelly off later, which I probably will do. But that'll be it now until tomorrow morning. I might get peckish in the evening, and I'll have one rich tea biscuit, but that'll be it, really, till tomorrow morning for breakfast.
It could hardly be more different from the way he used to eat. Dave is now looking ahead to the next stage of his dietary adventure.
I'm not missing any foods. Not now I've got pureed curry, because that actually feels like a little gap for me. But I'm still thinking of perhaps 6 months' time where I'm going to go over to the cafe and have a bacon and cheese stick, but probably only have half of it for a main meal, and then perhaps take the other half home for later, like the following day. But that's going to be a long time yet, and it's just something to look forward to, that my stomach can actually take it. Probably fine. That one French stick, which they normally do about, I suppose, 12 inches long, will probably do like 4. So I should be going over there and saying, can I have a French stick cut into 4, please?
Diet is not the only thing that's changed for Dave. Everyday tasks are getting easier and easier.
Yeah, since losing the weight, I've found that I've managed to put my own socks and shoes on. Because before, I mean, I could put them on, but it would take me like perhaps a good 10 or 15 minutes to put the socks on. Yeah, I wish I'd done it sooner. Yeah, it's going to lengthen my life. That's going to be the beauty of things. Every day I wake up and I feel better, I feel good, and I could do things more than I did before. It's like a rebirth. And that's how easy it is to find that I can put my own shoes on. I know it's a silly little thing, but I'm pleased with it. I'm pleased that I've lost the weight to do that.
Dave's weigh-in 6 weeks after his surgery confirms his progress.
210.1.
But there's been another even more dramatic change in his life.
Since losing weight, unfortunately, I lost my girlfriend Colette. We're no longer together. It's a shame, but unfortunately things happen. It's one of those things, I suppose. It wasn't down to the fact that I'm losing weight and she lost interest in me, it was for other reasons. And that was it. We still remain friends, but that's a good thing.
As weight loss patients undergo huge physical and psychological changes, it's not uncommon for the dynamics in a relationship to change. The partner may struggle to get used to the new person, and this can cause tension. With or without Colette, Dave must continue with the weight loss journey. For the next 4 weeks, Dave will push his new upper digestive system to its limits, and he'll record every moment in a video diary.
I'm going to have a minestrone with pasta cuppa soup extra. Might stick some curry powder in it, make it a bit spicy. I had a yoghurt this morning, quite like that. Rye Vita cracker breads and some squeezy cheese. I was thinking about having another soup. I know what one I fancy. I fancy chilli something or other soup. I'll have a look when I get out in the kitchen. And mini chicken roast dinner. We're going to process it. Oh, I had a carrot and coriander soup last night. Oh, that was disgusting. It tasted floral, flowers. I suppose that'd be coriander, wouldn't it? I do enjoy cooking anyway, even before I was doing this. Oh, gammon smells nice. I can smell it cooking. Apart from losing weight, you kind of gained like taste buds back. And oh, I bought some kippers for Christmas morning. I love kippers. I've also been a bit naughty as well. I bought iced rich fruit cake. I'm not going to overdo it, I don't think. I bought hot dogs for lunch, and I had one, and I think I blocked myself up with it because I felt bad afterwards. I've had a really rough day with food for the last few days. It's been quite painful. Everything I've eaten I've brought back up again. Don't know why.
14 cuppa soups, a chicken dinner, a hot dog, 27 cream crackers and 37 mini shepherd's pies later, Dave is back at St Richard's Hospital. 10 stone lighter since his operation just 12 weeks ago. It's time for him to meet health psychologist Dr. Georgina Ingle, who will explore how he's coping with his new diet.
The main premise of health psychology is to look at behaviour change, health behaviour changes, how people view their health, their attitudes to health, their beliefs about their health, what they do day to day to maintain health or improve health. And it very much looks at the here and now. People will be wanting to make a change, and it looks at every aspect of their lives and brings that together to help them make that change successfully and to maintain that change. Come through. How are you? Take a seat. Good to see you again. So nearly 10 stone since your operation. And so how do you feel about that?
Amazing, actually.
You look great, I have to say.
Thank you. Yeah, I've gone down from an 8XL clothing down to a 4, 5. The one place I've noticed it the most is my belt that I wear. Yeah. That when I was at work, I used to be on that hole there. Since I've had the operation, I'm now up here.
That's just amazing. You must be really pleased. You've worked really hard to achieve that.
Now, if I do excessive walking, like perhaps for an hour, in one hit...
Can you hear yourself?
I know.
Walking for an hour?
My knee hurts a little bit.
Okay.
And then I just rest, and then perhaps not go out the following day or go out.
You talked about control over your diet, and, you know, on a scale of sort of no control with 0 to 10 ultimate control, where would you put yourself pre-operatively?
Oh, I would say probably -3.
Right, okay.
It really was bad.
Where would you put yourself now, 12 weeks post-operatively?
I would put myself at a +2, so it'd be 12. Okay. And I was having a little Chinese sliver.
Gina wants to know if Dave has succumbed to any temptations.
At any time. I mean, I have tried chocolate.
So you have...
And it stays down, which is a scare.
I would still say to you, top of the slippery slope.
Yeah.
I wouldn't, eat
Wouldn't
that,
go there,
because, you don't want to get into this situation 2 years down the line where you're eating chocolate again quite often.
It's not just Dave's weight that has taken a turn for the better.
I've actually been out down the town recently and I've not had no nasty comments. And I thought, that was a good day.
Yeah.
Because 9 times out of 10 I go down the high street and you always get a comment like, oh, look at that fat so-and-so walking down the road. I didn't have one and I thought, things are changing.
Well, I think you're doing really well.
Thank you.
I think you've just got to keep doing what you're doing. Well, well done. Keep going.
Lovely, thank you.
Keep up the good work.
And I'll probably see you when I'm down next anyway. I'm down in 3 months.
I will do, definitely. Dave's doing really well. It's very encouraging to actually hear that not only is he making changes that are going to be useful in the short term, actually making long-term changes. His attitude towards food, his way that he views food, the role that food now plays in his life is somewhat different. And that's what would indicate that he's going to make some changes that he's going to be able to maintain for the long term.
Over there, it's a lot different, isn't it?
At the clinic, Dave has bumped into an old friend, Chris Webber, who also had a gastric bypass operation at St Richard's back in April 2011.
It's been virtually 11 months now for me, and I've gone from 33.4 stone to 16.5, so...
Wow.
But as is always the case, it's not easy. You have to work at it every day.
Oh, of course you do, yeah, definitely.
And every day is a new challenge. In the last 11 months, I've gone from being so immobile that, aches and pains, hardly walking, and now I walk every day. I've got a bicycle, swim.
Chris lives in Spain on the Costa Brava, singing in local clubs. It was in 2008 that Chris and Dave first met, while Dave was on his honeymoon. They found they had something in common.
I remember him in Spain, because you couldn't not remember him. He was a big guy like me, and we don't meet many big guys. And then when we started to speak, then obviously it came to light that we were both going on the same crusade, as I call it.
Definitely.
I don't call it a journey, it's a
no,
crusade.
Everybody uses journey. Crusade is good, yeah.
As the pounds have dropped off, Dave's self-esteem has grown and grown.
The more weight comes off, the better looking I'm getting. I've noticed myself looking in the mirror. And I've never been a poser to look in the mirror, and I also enjoy having a photograph taken now.
And Chris has got some good advice on the lady front.
One of the things, Dave, is when the weight starts coming off, the women get more interested. Seriously, yeah, they get more interested. You have to fight them off.
That'd be good.
Little treat
these are
time.
good. Yeah.
These are my chocolate brownies.
Having battled with weight all her life, Carol Bowen Ball thought she'd exhausted every option in her quest to become a normal size again.
I was going to say, it looks like nuts, but it can't be.
A gastric bypass helped her lose 6.5 stone, but her passion for food is still at the heart of her life and career.
As good as you remembered when you were younger? I've got a new career now because I actually advise other bariatric patients about good food choices and try and sort of get them into a good way of thinking by trying out delicious recipes that are bariatric friendly.
The sun is shining in Sittingbourne. Dave's lost a massive 12 stone in just 5 months. And it's time to fly that flag of victory. And that's not the only change. Colette is back on the scene.
I feel really bad about splitting up with him because, like, it was a month after his operation, but I couldn't put up with how things were. I did do an awful lot for him, and it just seemed like he didn't care. It just got too much, really.
The operation has not only saved his life, it's also saved his relationship. Gone are the days of being dependent on help from Colette. The new slimmer Dave can tackle the domestic chores himself.
He's doing so much stuff for himself. I don't even do nothing for him now. He just looks so much happier and healthier, and I'm just so happy that he had the operation done.
To celebrate getting back together, Dave is treating Colette to a slap-up lunch in his favourite cafe.
Really nice, this is.
Despite fantasising about that cheese and bacon baguette for months, it's just a modest beans on toast with some well-done bacon on the side.
But I do wish I was having that and not you. I just can't take the bread properly at the moment. One of the silliest things is I really don't miss not having the food.
It's good.
While Colette gets to enjoy that cheese and bacon baguette, Dave has a surprise for her.
There's special flowers here for you. There you go. Well, that. What I would like to do, would you marry me, Colette?
I feel really excited and really happy. I'm very shocked, but I didn't think that was going to happen. Of course I will, David. Everyone knows what Dave's like for the surprises all the time. It'd be a start of us, like getting married and hopefully have children and just be one big happy family.
And for Dave, the practicalities of fathering a child is getting easier.
I think the children's side of things is going to happen naturally now because now I've lost the weight. Sex is a lot easier. Yeah, it's a lot easier. It's opened up a new bedroom experience for us.
And Dave's bride-to-be always had the approval of his mum.
Yeah, Mum loved Colette. She wanted Colette to move in. She wanted us to get married ages ago. I think the Mum would be over the moon. Deep down, I think she would. She'd be really happy.